Charisma House presents We've Never Been This Way Before, Trusting God in Unprecedented Times, written by R.T. Kendall, narrated by Shane Parker. Forward. On Good Friday, April 10, 2020, I stood in the Oval Office of the President of the United States. I was honored to be asked to pray a prayer after the President shared some remarks about the holiday. This was an amazing moment in my life. My research shows that millions listened and agreed with the prayers offered at that event. 2 days before, the first day of Passover, I went to the White House for what would prove to be a dry run for Friday's prayer. 2 trips to the White House in 1 week. This was quite an accomplishment for a minister raised in the African-American ghettos of Cincinnati, Ohio. During those encounters and discussions, I was asked by the President if I was ever nervous before I spoke. I remarked that I was nervous right then because he was the most powerful man in the world. During those visits, I got tested for COVID-19 for the first time. Next, I met the famed Dr. Anthony Fauci and Dr. Deborah Birx, and they remarked that African Americans had a disproportionate infection rate with the virus. I had been fasting and praying intermittently for nearly 1 month. I realized that President Trump understood that his presidency and the lives of millions were in God's hands, not just his hands. I could see the weight of the presidential office upon him. He remarked that he had to make the most important decisions of his life in that moment. He was right. Therefore, he directly beseeched the wisdom and blessings of God through prayer. He had summoned me as a representative of Christ's church to invoke a blessing, or to implore the Almighty to release His protective power. These are truly perplexing times. There are obvious anomalies in what's going on in our nation. How can I live in one of the most religious counties in the D.C. area, but it has the highest COVID-19 infection rate in my home state of Maryland? Why is the racial division in our nation coming to the forefront at this time? Clearly, God is humbling our nation and giving us an opportunity to change. The biggest lesson that I learned from the Good Friday prayer is that God has His own agenda. We've never been this way before gives the best biblical perspective I have heard on where we are today. R.T. Kendall attempts to help us negotiate these difficult waters by answering the question, where is God in all this? This book calls us back to the pages of the Bible. It calls us back to the first and most important steps to real repentance, renewal, and cultural reformation. Reverend Kendall may...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?